When we look at how we learn and construct how we move, there's a very defined order within our physiology, within our nervous system, that then very much defines really how and why we then move and perform the way we do. So really movement starts with the idea of anticipation. First, we have to anticipate. One of the brain's main functions in life is to kind of figure out where and what next. So from here, how do I get there? From there, how do I get here? So movement is done initially through anticipation, the idea of kind of where and what next from now. So movement is initially anticipated. Once we anticipate kind of where and what next, that then creates a sensory response, often known as a detection. So for example, often it could be smell, sound, touch, but certainly more often in golf is more visual based or kinesthetic feel based. So we get this sensory response. So we anticipate, how do I get there from here? It then creates a sensory feedback, golf, visual, feel being the main two. That then creates what's called then a movement conclusion. So conclusions are, we then decide this is how we need to move based on our sensory feedback and our anticipation. Conclusions are often referred to as perceptions, and even in some cases our concepts. We perceive, we conceptualize this is how we need to move, but more realistically they're known as conclusions. So again, we anticipate, how do we get here from there? That creates a sensory response, a detection. We then conclude, this is how we need to move based on that sensory feedback and anticipation. And then finally, that then creates what's called a movement expression. So we express within how we move that conclusion, sensory feedback, and anticipation. So in many ways, when we looked at how we train players, how we look to almost encourage movement, is not necessarily done through looking at, say, for example, how do we improve their expression? Movement is a form of expression. We don't look so much at their conclusions and their sensory feedback. It's actually the anticipation. So when we train anticipation, invariably in a very organic way, we then start to see improvements in sensory feedback, detection, movement conclusions, and then vitally, movement expressions.